takeaway time. Tim, take us away with
Awesome.
takeaways.
I'll start by saying that we started off with honest, no BS, AI governance. Go, Victoria! And you kind of started off by saying that you love the term because of the fact that it can be very encompassing and a gateway that can unlock a lot of different conversation about AI, and not just the defensive aspects, but especially the bigger kind of value aspects, and really finding what you call the big wins. Juan mentioned, everybody's doing these POCs and things like that, and how can we drive operational kind of value and production use of AI. And you said that, in your experience, especially being in the healthcare industry and space, you've seen a lot of these little pop-ups. And when you think about like how you get the most value and avoid, what we're going to maybe see more of now, these like FDA warnings for, healthcare organizations using AI and potentially, impactfully, could be dangerous or risky ways. It's really a focus on humans, right? It's about human-centered digital transformation, where, people, process, technology, and data. Not just the people aspect, but all four of those aspects have a huge human element. And people, culture, you have to do this very intentionally. Process is very human. Technology, it's not just about the actual sort of AI itself. It's about how you're using it and the bigger picture that it fits into the human architecture. And data, of course, has a very human element to it as well. Jobs to be done, intentionality and context. So lots of human aspects here we need to focus on around AI governance. And you really kind of pushed for a bigger kind of tent for what AI governance can represent, that it's about helping organizations and individuals not just be compliant and have safe adoption, but to really ensure that we have the right impact. Business continuity being reimagined, business value delivery and innovation being reimagined, not just sort of what we messed up in the past. Hey, the data science era, like, hey, let's machine learning, let's figure out what to use it for, right? Problem searching or solution searching for a problem. Let's take this with a very solution forward kind of mentality. So much more. That was just the tip of the iceberg of my notes. But Juan, what were your big takeaways?
So, I like how we discussed a little bit about the kind of the past we've done with data. Like you see data about being defensive, offensive, right? Defensive compliance and stuff, offensive optimized. We're right now in this whole era of AI this is applicable too, right? We need to move quickly as possible in a safe way. Speed can't come at the expense of other things. But what changes a little bit now is that we have think about vulnerabilities around this, about your organization, and even as people, as humans, that is now something that we were not doing before, in the whole data space. That's what really changes here. So we were really good at the retrospective, understand what worked and what didn't work, but now we really need to kind of figure out a way, kind of predict what the future is going to look like, and not the way we've done things in the past year is going to help around this. Which is interesting. We talk about how do we get these the invisible kind of processes out of people's heads, and what you describe is something I've seen other people trying to do this too. It's hey, let's go create the agents, going to interview the people, interview the expert executives about what they're planning to go do, and then in that process you try to extract how they're doing things and the processes around that. The thing is that you acknowledge that we don't know what that next process is going to look like, and I think that's kind of what's really interesting. At least we need to understand what we have, how we're doing things today, such that we can go figure out how we can improve these things. And then there's those aspects of people are being onboarded, and how do they know those invisible processes? This is actually how to get help. By the way, it's not just people, even the agents themselves, or onboarding agents need to go do that. And then we wrapped up with the whole AI ready data. And I think it's the very clear separation of when you're doing things around language and text, maybe that scraping type of stuff is going to work, but numbers, right? When you see 5 in a column, what does that number mean, right? That data is captured. And I love how you said this. Data is going through a flow through an entire ecosystem organization. That's something we need to understand. It ties back to how all that flow of the data ties back to their business processes you need to understand. You need audit trails for things, right? If for example, data have different units, you need to understand what those units are and how to translate between them. How is it appropriate to use? How can I operate quickly? This was a really interesting one, is if I want to operate quickly, can I go to the raw, or should I still go to the curated? And there's a change there. There's all these little different things, and all of this really defines what AI ready data is. And it's not just have a high data quality, whatever. It's this expands so much. How did we do?
Terrific. I think what I'm hearing sort of from both of you is that, in a way, and again, right, I study the medical aspect of our world. And think of it maybe like a muscle, was sort of the light bulb I just had as we were talking, right? It's a muscle, and you have to treat your muscles well, right? And you can pull a muscle, you can hurt a muscle, you can strain a muscle, you can rip a muscle, right? But if you treat your muscle well, if you feed it with good things, and an occasional cocktail, right? Your muscle will, be able to push you harder, make you run faster, and help you, achieve a lot of great ambitions that you have. So in a way, I think that's my hope for this space.